Our chairman, Miss Moody, is not here this evening. I'll be sitting in for her. And our city planner, Yu, is not available due to an unforeseen. The mayor, Miss Brown, Mr. Brown, and Dr. Sterling in the audience. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, let's take a moment for silent meditation and okay. The next agenda on the item is approval of the minutes. Noted that last month, due to weather, we did not have a meeting, so we're approving the minutes from December. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? All affirmative. Before we move on to the public comment, I just wanted to take a moment to thank Dr. Weiss, who retired, and for getting us jump-started this year on this Planning and Zoning Commission, and his efforts are truly appreciated. He was always very helpful. The next item is public comment. You'll be limited to 5 minutes for items that are unrelated to the new business. If you decide to speak, please name with your name, your address, and whether or not you are a resident of the city. Is there any open public comment at this time? No public comment at this time? Do I need to do a motion to close open? Okay, all right. So, motion to close public, open public? Second? Approve? Opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, so new business. Did you want to summarize this, Jennifer, or you want me to go ahead and? Okay, so new business, public hearing, item A, Z2404, rezoning, City of Houston. Applicant and property owner seeks rezoning from R1, single family low density residential, to institutional district of approximately 11.25 acres of property on the north side of Peachtree Road, maps parcels 120/010B, 120/010E, 120/010I, and 120/010C, including 84 and 42 Peachtree Road. Purpose: proposed use is industrial, city hall, and police facilities, parking lot, parks, and open spaces. The planner's recommendation is for approval.
And if I can just make one comment, Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
The reason we are asking for this is just because all of our other properties are institutional, and we would just like to let this property as well line up with the rest of our properties.
Thank you. Is there any comment at this time? Okay. Motion to approve. Motion to approve. Second. All those in favor? Unanimous? I'm sorry, I should have asked for anybody to speak in for or against. I didn't do that. I'm sorry, yeah. Is there anybody in opposition? I apologize. First day on the job. Okay. Moving on to item B. Z-2405, rezoning. City of Houston applicant, Wind Peacock LLC, property owner seeks to rezone from plan unit development, conditional, ordinance Z-21-11, and modified by ordinance Z-2209 to plan unit development, conditionally to modify the conditionings of the zoning approval of 11.5 acres, map parcels 120/010A, fronting the south side of Industrial Boulevard, the west side of State Road 53, the east side of White Street. Proposed uses, no changes in proposed from approved, 225 dwelling units, apartments, 60,000 square feet of non-residential commercial, office, and restaurant space. Planner's recommendation is approval with modified conditions. Is there anybody who would like to speak on behalf or against this? If so, please come to the stand with your name, your address, and whether or not you are a city resident.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Matt Benson. My address is 1550 North Brown Road, Lawrenceville, Georgia. Although I will say, for me to get home, I leave Lawrenceville with a smile on my face and keep driving north of here. My client, Dr. Kumar, is here. Ken Wood, the engineer, is here. And his associate Joseph is here too. We are here simply to reiterate what's in Dr. White's report, which is that we are happy and pleased to participate with the city on this proposal made by the city to flip the development that Dr. Kumar had originally designed from one way to another to accommodate the city's wishes and to, I think, we all agree, to bring betterment to the whole area that would be inclusive of the city's property and Dr. Kumar's. We're comfortable with the conditions that Dr. Weiss had already prepared and presented to the commission. Happy to answer any questions to the extent you have any, but we're full endorsement with what Dr. Jerry Weiss had already prepared and proposed.
Okay. Is anybody else in favor, speaking in favor? Anybody speaking opposed? Discussion from the council? I got a couple questions, but I didn't know if anybody else did. Take it away. And then more just clarifications. And I'm just going to start with the letter of intent, page 6 of our packet. The fourth paragraph talks about a dedicated right-of-way and a multi-use path along the property. I'm just curious as to when in the development that multi-use path would come into play. Is it towards the end? Is it at the beginning? We're going to do it as a shot. I'm just curious as where it takes place.
That walkway would have to be constructed contemporaneous with the construction of the apartments. In other words, it's got to be on the ground, ready to serve the apartment users. So it would have to be constructed.
Yeah, but is it before occupancy at the
Yes.
development stage of the parking lot, or is it just floating along that construction schedule?
Well, it would be floating inside the construction schedule, but it would be on the initial stage of discussion of the construction schedule. So that would be one of the first improvements, actually
Okay.
Final improvements you would see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much for clarifying that. On this, and I don't know if that's on that map, Jennifer, it's the map's on page 7 of our packet. I don't think that's the one I was, where it shows everything, the city as well. Okay. That was the one I asked about, the squiggly line. Page 7. So it shows that squiggly line from the end of the multi-use path from Allamont Farms over towards White Street. And I wanted just to make sure that's the proposed route of the multi-use path. Because I noticed the one that's completed is straight. And that one is like a snake. So I just wanted to make sure.
Kenneth Wood, 350 Research Court, Peachtree Corners, Georgia. So if you're looking at the map when you're looking at the one when you're coming by the park, kind of where City Hall is, that is a little bit more of a linear section. Once you turn and you're kind of going through the woods, heading over to the parking lot, the idea was that it would meander some.
Okay.
And so that as the construction starts on the multifamily and you're starting to get that form work for the curb in, that multi-use trail on White Street and the White Street improvements would go in. But the idea was, since it had a kind of a wider little buffer there, that it would kind of meander.
Perfect
through
sense.
there.
I just wanted to make sure. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much. I'm on page 3 now on conditions, Exhibit B. And I just wanted to make sure, is 450 parking slots? Is that is the count that I came up with?
So just to clarify, are we looking at just the residential?
Correct.
Or the combined? Yes. It's 424 spaces is on the residential to get to the required parking.
Okay.
That's right. And then you have the additional for City Hall, Civic Center, the commercial, everything.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. And I'm sorry to but just some questions that I had.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking at the usages under C1, and I had to go to the zoning ordinance on there. But so my concern is, and I know that this was approved a while back, and as we move forward with the city, we want to make sure that we're aesthetically pleasing for everybody that's going forth. And there were 2 conditions in the zoning regs that just I have questions about. One of them is that it allows for solar panels on the building, and I'm thinking that you got a 5-story building with solar panels on 53. I don't want the city to look like a solar farm, but I didn't know if the intent was to use solar panels, or I'm just curious if that's anywhere in your plans or consideration.
Is it on are you describing on the Civic Center or the multifamily?
Multifamily.
I do not see. We work on a lot of different multi around the southeast, and I have not seen multi use the solar panels up on the roofs for that. Just because the amount of wattage that you can actually pull from it could do very small limitations, but right now the kilowatt it's just not quite right there. You really need more of where they're doing it in the
and that's fine. I just in my mind I had this picture of going down 53 and it looks like a solar farm. I didn't want that. I didn't think that was in keeping with the city.
No.
And then the other question, Jennifer, this is the one I asked you about temporary. So I know there's a provision that allows for temporary sea containers to be stored. And the questions, one was for the city, is nowhere could I find a definition of what temporary is. And 2 is that is hopefully not part of the development to use temporary sea vans, what I call them, for anything as we support businesses in there.
Definitely not. I mean, no. I mean, the idea is to build a Class A multi and then neighborhood retail to support the city improvements that are going to be here as a destination for the city and for residents.
Okay. No, I understand the connexes during construction. That I understand. No, but the ordinance allows for them, once a business is in place, to use them temporarily.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find temporarily.
No. Yeah, I cannot see there to be a need or any. I haven't seen that. I can't imagine we would do that. I'm sure that could be some condition.
Okay. We're getting close. I'm looking at the conceptual site plan, which I really like. The two questions that come to mind on this is, I did not see anywhere in here where we have identified dumpster locations. And I'm just curious as to where they're at. I don't want them to, I wouldn't think they would be aesthetically pleasing on 53 at all.
Yeah, no, you won't be able to see them. So if you're looking at the multi there, we have kind of our underground stormwater in the back part of that, closer to that industrial building. Okay. Can I,
Yeah.
so I don't have a, I'm gonna walk away.
Yeah, that's fine.
So if you're looking up here, you know, the way, sometimes we don't spot them on more of the color type plans,
Sure.
but, you know, just for ease, for being able to come in, grab,
Mhm.
most likely either right here or right here. The way we do them is you have you basically, it's a compactor and it's enclosed with a wall. The wall would architecturally match the building. And so that's what we always do, because even though it's not very pretty, it's the same concern, you know, for the owner in terms of making sure it matches. So it would have doors that close and doors that open. And so when they come in and grab the container and be able to dump it, but it would be enclosed in there. And so same as the recycling that goes right beside it, it would have gates. And so it's fully enclosed. And so it would be totally back. You wouldn't see it from 53, but it also would be screened, because your same concern is also our same concern in terms of it being screening. And so anything we can say, I want to say the ordinance says something about screening it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't know, I understood the screening part, I just didn't know if it was like on 53
Oh
or
yeah,
behind it at
no.
all.
Yeah, the idea is we put them in, we make those landscape mediums large enough
Mhm.
where either there's like a dog run, or we can also put something at the end of it, because we really want to make it easier where you can come in, grab it, load it, leave it, and then have it screened very easily.
Okay.
No, on the industrial side, that's correct.
Okay.
It's just easier for the, you know, you know, for the garbage company to come in, you want them to come in and be able to circulate and leave.
Right.
It's everywhere they travel, you got to have heavy duty pavement, so it's better to have less of that.
Okay, and then my last question, and this is the one I was asking about for the police chief. So I noticed on the bottom L, what I call the bottom L of the apartments, the closest ones to the commercial buildings there.
Right.
And human nature being what it is, people are going to park closest to their apartment. I just wanted to make sure I don't have Chief Hill getting phone calls from the business operators because apartment residents are parking in front of their business because it's close to their apartment.
Oh, I got you. The parking proximity of it?
Yes. 'Cause
Yeah.
I can see that. I mean, you know, I was in the Army for 20 years, and I know soldiers go to the shortest distance. They don't care what it says. And they'll do the same
Right.
thing there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we were trying to cluster as many of them, you know, on the other side. You know, really the idea is those will probably, most of those are going to be marked for resident parking. Really, your main, you know, the idea is that you're pulling from Peachtree, right, into the development. And so as you're going past City Hall, that's your big draw. And so we're, you know, the idea was that parking lot would really function to that, and most people will pedestrian walk across it. We can definitely look at that parking lot, but, you know, probably signing it and then marking it is something we could do. But we also had that big parking field on the left,
Yeah.
because most of our entry is going to be here into the building, because your corridor runs down the center here, but most of the entry will be from there.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking the people at that one end might want to get the closest parking spot. And I understand that.
Yeah,
I
understood.
just don't want
Yeah.
businesses to call Chief Hill and say, there's a, you know, pickup truck in front of my retail business and never moves.
Yeah,
That's
and
my
we can
cons- that was
we
my
can
only
look at that further too. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What thoughts have you given to the buses that will pick up the kids for school?
So most everything that I've seen is determining what route, whether it's going to be White, Peachtree, or industrial coming down. But what we've done on almost all of the complexes is be able to have a designated location out on the street, you know, like a little location. And then what we need to do is get feedback for the school is going to tell us where they want us to
Yes,
be. And
right.
then we basically make that the designated area with signage.
Yeah, and there's a clear path for the bus to
That's
come in
right.
and get out without having.
Oh yeah, I mean all of our everything we have in here is designed for the fire department, and so, you know, with the ladder trucks and everything, so everything has the larger radiuses. But most likely, most all the ones we're done, what we're seeing with the school is they have a certain style, and I always guess it, and then they do something different. But it ends up being that they want to have a clear drop-off, kind of one location that they get, and we have to sign it and make it lit and make sure it's safe for that. But most likely, they would not pull in. But if they did pull into here, you can easily navigate around all the turns. Everything around the building is fire rated in terms of their turning radiuses.
Good.
And so if they can get the ladder trucks, the school buses can easily get around
Yeah.
too.
Can I pull on that string just a little bit
Yeah,
more?
sure.
So, again, she piqued my interest. So, it sounds like conceptually it would be a centralized location for the kids for pickup.
That's right.
Would you consider, or what is the design? Is it going to be sheltered? Because I see 20 kids standing in the rain because they can't just, along the routes where they bus pulls in front of the house here, they're not going to have that opportunity. Or is there going to be a small shelter in place for the kids, or you hadn't thought about that, or is that the school's responsibility?
Yeah, we haven't. I mean, unless I don't know if you guys have thought about that. I mean, most of the time it's open to anything, but usually the school system will tell us kind of what they want, and a lot of times they just want to have more of a signage there. And if it is allowed to construct something, usually it's, you know, close to the right of way, so it's a little bit of a decision too, you know, whether or not you guys want some type of a overhead build. But they're usually pretty small. You know, you usually have kind of a bench and an overhead type thing.
I'm thinking with 225 apartments, we're going to have, you know, 20, 30 kids. Doesn't seem unreasonable, and I'm concerned about where. I would think it would have to be next to the complex. I'm not familiar. I guess I'm just reaching for answers here.
Most likely it would be at the corner of White Industrial. It would be my guess, you know, based on that. But just keep in mind too, you know, the new Class A, you know, the multi, the way that they're being built to, you know, we're not programming for kids, and the data, whether it's Gray Star, whoever, you know, he gets to at least, you know, be part of the management team. You know, the data is showing that it's like such a low percentage because there's not playground. You know, this is all designed to be, you know, young professionals and targeting, you know, people 55 and, you know, older, and to try to really have a broad range of people living there. And you typically don't see a lot of kids, but I would definitely think it would be at the intersection. I mean, we can always say that we can reach out to the school and find out what they'd be willing to do. That's an easy answer for them.
Yeah,
They have it like a book. I mean, they're
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
this is
whether
what we allow.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's, you know, 20 kids or a young mom with a 6-year-old
Right.
standing in the
Right,
rain
yeah,
because
sure.
there's no shelter. I just don't want that
Sure.
to be the case.
Sure.
And-
Well, they have umbrellas.
It builds
I mean,
character.
You know, I grew up standing in the rain, and well, some people might say
I got
I'm
you.
not normal, but
I
David, well, yep, I got all kinds of
Yeah,
my friends out
Uphill
there helping
both
me.
ways.
yeah, uphill both ways, exactly. 6 inches of snow, and I grew up in Miami.
And it is, I
Yeah.
mean, I agree. The school's going to dictate what
Yeah.
to do. I mean, that's
I just
where I
didn't
came
know-
from. The school said, this is where the bus is going to stop. We don't care what you say.
Yeah, I mean, the best way I can answer it is, you know, when you're building really nice multi, especially in this setting where it's a downtown setting, to be successful, if it starts having kids and you need to have a location, they're going to build. I mean, that's how I usually see it. Is if it's allowed, they're going to build somewhere nice because it only increases the value of the property to do that. I just can't tell you. I'd be off if I was telling you that we know exactly how that's going to be.
Okay. I just have a quick question. The square at the upper right-hand side of this, that's not part of this project, correct? It's identified on it. It's just
That's a
outlined.
commercial parcel on Highway 53.
Right.
We show.
You show an entrance to it?
There's a connection to it so that
Okay.
circulation can work, but I would think that's some type of future retail
Okay.
or restaurant office pad there that would be part of the city, the downtown area. But I would think, you know, as this fills up, that'll be in high demand to have something built there.
Yep, got it.
And then my last question was, I read in here and I can't remember now, I can't find it. There's a right-hand turn only lane on 53 coming out of this? I thought I read that somewhere. Or am I mistaken?
On 53.
No, I know there was in the daycare, but I thought somewhere in this packet I saw
I
it
don't
right
remember.
turn
Do you
lane
have
on the
that?
53. Is that what it was? It was in the minutes, okay. I was just curious where that would be.
So the one I saw, it says on State Route 53, prior to issuance of the certificate of occupancy, eastbound on State Route 53 at the entrance of Industrial Boulevard, the owner develops a constructed deceleration lane at no cost to the Georgia DOT, meeting GDOT standards. But I haven't seen one that talks about like a right out only or a modification to a right. But as part of that decel lane, I mean, it would be, those radiuses would be modified. But I don't, do you remember where you might have?
Yeah, and maybe I'm mistaken, I'm. No. Oh, there it is on 12, Industrial Boulevard improvements, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
but that's a decel lane. It's just the way it's worded. So like, for instance, on 13, it's worded as the owner developer shall construct a deceleration at no cost, which is a right turn lane. And then that one just says a right turn lane, but it's really a decel lane because that's what it essentially, this essentially is. So it might just be a wording.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Nothing from you, Scott?
I have just a couple. Are you anticipating the Peachtree Road being the primary entrance connection?
For the entire development. I think Peachtree is going to be, once City Hall is open, as primary, but obviously, you also have Industrial Drive for the multi that'll be also a very much of a front door too. So it'll kind of function on both sides for circulation.
Has anybody ever, I've seen a study that proposed there be an alignment between industrial and town center and a red light. Did somebody discuss that with you?
Yeah, my name is Sri Kumar. I represent the property owner, Win Peacock LLC. Addressing Commissioner Butler's point of view, there was a study, it's called Brazelton-Houston Mobility Study. At the time, Dr. Jerry White was doing all the alignment and everything. And Kroger has aligned that road to go to town center. To answer your question, DOT found it very difficult to align their road with this industrial boulevard. They were struggling so hard. So now by doing the City Hall, now this makes much easier for the Peachtree rather than going through that alignment.
That's why I was asking if you envision it being the primary in and out, because there'll be a red light, Peachtree Road at 53. The problem is, that's the primary outlet. How many feet is that entrance from 53?
The one on Peachtree?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Right there.
from here to here.
Yeah.
I mean, here to here is probably about 450. It's a pretty good distance.
So the average distance that a car takes up and the before and after space between them.
25, yeah, 25 with space, 23.
So that would be 15 cars then from 53 to that end.
Mm-hmm.
Routinely, at peak traffic time, there can be 25 to 27 cars.
Yeah, there's going to have to be, Peachtree is going to have the don't block the box improvements, different ways to be able to deal with that, the striping, the way that entrance is done. And it could be, like I said, preliminarily, the way it's looked at, the idea was to really have kind of a grand entrance coming into City Hall and something, but it's not to say, as the city gets into the design, that it could have some other configuration to come back if that ends up being a problem, through additional civil studies and everything that we do.
But you could come back to the driveway to the downside of City Hall.
There's a lot of different ways that you definitely could do it. There could be a second one. I know that you know, just thinking of all the different ones, whether it's, you know, a lot of different cities that we looked at city halls for, you know, want to have the pop, you know, when you come in with the park setting and everything. But obviously, as we get into it, if it becomes an issue from a design standpoint, you do have the ability to pull it back. So as long as you still have that grand entrance, or maybe it can become more of a loop and give people a second way of getting over there too, you know, because you know, Roswell has their big loop for that reason, to keep it away from you know, Hill Street too.
Thank you for having a
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other comments? All right, so we need a motion.
Just to clarify.
Yes, ma'am.
Chair, if, just wanted to make sure to have good clarity, are there any, additional conditions that you would like to recommend to the council? Or are y'all good with the conditions that are set before you with Dr. Jerry White's comments?
I think when we get the community input from the conceptual plans and as they're, you know, more fully developed, I think, you know, there will be some issues or questions or clarifications that need to be addressed, but, as of right now, I don't.
Okay.
Chuck, Tom?
Yeah.
You got anything?
No. I'll just make a motion to accept, oh boy, the proposal as it's written.
With conditions that are.
Yeah.
Is there a
And-
second?
And we are discussing, you're making a motion towards Z 2405.
Yes.
Second? All those in favor? Unanimous?
Make a motion to dismiss.
I say, motion to dismiss? All right,
To adjourn.
adjourn. Oh,
It says on here that there's no other business that we've got. We've got some old business that was never addressed, and that's
Okay.
the sign ordinance. We're supposed to discuss the sign ordinance at our January meeting, which didn't happen, about changes to it. And I sent everybody stuff that I had gone through and put in, and we've never talked about it.
you are absolutely correct.
Would you call my wife, please? That doesn't happen very often, so I'm really excited. That's fine. I just didn't, I mean, it just said no old business, and I said, yeah, actually, there is old business. So, I mean, I'm fine putting it on the agenda for next meeting. I'm good with that, so.
And you'll just have to update me. What, where were y'all left off with that? Were y'all just still in discussion mode?
So Chuck had some, several, constructive suggestions to the sign ordinance and points.
I went through, I got Forsyth County's sign ordinance, and I went through and I read theirs, and then I read ours, and I found I had a list of either questions as to maybe something that was missed, or some clarification on some verbiage. And I mean, one of the things I brought up was penalties, which we don't have in there,
Okay.
for like the weekend signage. You know, okay, you put weekend signs out, and you don't follow the compliance, you know, what happens? Nothing. So I stole theirs, R&D, rip off and duplicate,
Absolutely. We do that.
and put in that about financial penalties for
Okay.
not complying with the signs. So, I mean, you can certainly have that.
I was gonna say, can I have that for our record keeping?
Yep,
All right.
absolutely.
And I know the mayor and council are, eager to, have an updated sign ordinance as well. So we will all work together and have something, great for the city.
So so you'll make sure that gets on our next agenda? there for
Yes,
us,
I
Jennifer?
will discuss it with mayor and council and then I'll let you know.
Okay,
And if you need that, I do have it electronically, so I can send you a Word document.
I appreciate
in there
that.
if you- rather than just
Yes,
copy.
if you can do that, that would be great.
okay.
I will do that. So
Okay?
now I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All those in favor? Thank you very much.